Well, hi there. How you guys doing? My name is Brent, and I'll be your guide for the night as we embark on our journey into the Paranormal Portal. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I'm glad to be here with you. Thank you for being here with me. And by me, I mean we. And by we, I mean not only me, but my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard. Welcome, Don.
My name's Don. I'm a portalholic.
You're a portaholic? Yes.
I have to be here.
It's, there's worse vices to have,
yes,
I think.
There is.
Yeah, so
definitely.
And
I mean no slight to anybody, but I am a portalholic.
Well,
This
you
is
are.
The way it is.
But I think we all are, Don.
Yes.
I think we all are. I'm absolutely dying of heat all of a sudden, Don.
Really?
So I'm gonna do a little strip.
Not on camera.
Yeah,
not in front of the children.
Yeah. Sorry, kids. Sorry, I look this good is all I'm gonna say.
He's showing you his mankini.
Yeah. I gotta cool down. I'm just dying. All of a sudden, it's like hot flashes or something hit me. So
Great.
I'm
now
gonna.
he's going through the change of life. Nice.
Yeah, it's true. I've reached that stage. Hot flashes. God, I'm overclimped.
Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
So take it away, Don.
I don't know if I can.
There we go. Well,
oh, wow. Okay.
there, I've got better.
I got better.
Welcome, everybody. Hope you guys are doing great. Thanks for being here and being a part of the show. As you can tell, this is completely unscripted. We have no idea what the hell we're doing most of the time.
If we plan this, we're geniuses.
Well, I don't think we're that. We don't probably qualify as that, but welcome. It is our Wednesday evening show. Your hump day is now over, ladies and gentlemen. And you've made it onto the downhill slide to your weekend.
That always sounds fun.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, slide into the weekend. But wow. I don't know. How you been, Don?
Oh, it's been one of those days, where you just wish you could get a nap and call it good. Hey, I did hear a song on the radio I thought that just absolutely reminded me of you today.
Of me?
Yeah. I think it was
okay, go ahead.
by Winger. It was called 17.
Why does that remind you of me?
Because you read that article from 17 magazine.
Oh, my God. You have a freaking memory of an elephant or what? Ladies and gentlemen, Don is digging deep into he's digging deep into the paranormal apocrypha here on the portal. Oh, well, what had happened was I was reading stories. I just find information wherever I find
He's
it.
just sifting through the internet.
I'm literally combing through it like a bad detective, and I find this article and I read it on the show.
His name's Joe Monday.
And yeah, it's my dragnet. But I read it on the show, and I'm like, yeah. And I think it was you said, where did you find that article? I said, oh, it's from 17 magazine.
And everybody jumped on it. It's
everybody launched on me.
Brent's reading it from 17
Everybody
magazine.
brutalized me and made me feel sad.
He was black and blue for a week.
I was. You guys were like pouncing on me like rabid kittens. It was terrible. But
rabid kittens.
I don't know what that even means. But yeah, I no longer source 17 magazine for paranormal information. Just for the record, it wasn't worth the abuse.
I think anything in that time frame of life is paranormal.
Well, That whole period of our show was pretty paranormal, Don. We hardly had a stream that went as planned. We were so haunted back then.
And that particular part's changed how?
Well, now we can usually get through a show without 15 difficulties
Right, true.
and rebooting the stream 5 times.
That's true.
We got some terrible shrapnel of shows all over the place.
Linda says try Cosmo. He actually has. He's looked at it and go, no, I'm not reading that.
Why do you think I make my skin glows?
How to get rid of gas in 5 easy steps.
You kick them out of your house. Go home, Don. Well, all right, guys. Hope you're ready because we're going in. All right, we're back at it. And Heather, what are you coding exactly? Are you a coder? What do you code? I'm curious now because you said you're going to the coding realm for a bit, which is something I used to do a bit of, but mostly just web pages and stuff. I don't think it really qualifies as true coding. I never worked with any seriously high-level languages, but what are you working on? I'm curious now, so you'll have to let us know. But welcome to the show, and if you just got us on for that ambiance, then that's just fine.
DOS research.
DOS research. Oh, yeah. Denial of service or disk operating system? Which one are you cooking? Heather, which one are you working with here? Now I'm a little nervous. I'm now scared of you a little bit. Single.
And the portal today reported problems with the DOS attacks.
Yeah. The portal was knocked off the air after a sustained denial of service attack. But anyway.
That'd be a DDoS.
Well, that's distributed denial of service, yeah. Which is a whole different deal. But anyway,
wow.
Well, not really. It's the same type of attack. It's
How many zombies do you have?
I'm the only one I got done.
You're the only one we need.
Yeah, I am the Walking Dead, I think. So
It's a disk operating.
disk operating system. Okay, gotcha. All right. So anyway,
so she's working on a Linux. Okay, cool.
Linux. Linux. What did she say that?
Linux is a DOS.
Well,
Huh?
there's MS-DOS. There's all kinds of DOS.
But so, this is just crap.
All right. Anyway, let's continue on.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Computer talk, sleep time, cha-cha. You could learn something. You'd think of how worldly you'd be if you listen to the computer talk. Yeah, I'm just telling you. Go to work and start dropping names like DOS, and you just never know what's going to happen. All right, so I don't even know what I mean.
Wow.
All right, let's continue. We got a whole night of fun and paranormal for you.
And according to Deb, it's craziness, portal craziness.
It is portal craziness, but that's why you guys keep coming back, right? Because we're not just those. We're not another one of those millions of other shows out there that are all spooky and dreary. And
we're the one in the million show.
We are a unique show, I think. I think what we do is unique.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else is doing it.
The only way to catch us is to unique up on us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy. Wow. So it's been a long week.
Catch us is to unique up on us. Oh, that's funny. I had to burp and laugh at the same time. That was tough.
Awesome.
All right, guys. But we've got a show ahead for you. Let me tell you. Let's hit the hot sheets, Don, and see what's going on out there in the paranormal world.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. You know, I found these guys that do the Singular 40 on Twitter, and I followed him, Mr. Tobias Wayland, and I think it's his wife. I don't know for sure, but I mean to send him a message and tell him what a great job I think they do on their site.
Yes.
I love this site. I really do. Oh, yeah, we did that one. So, Ohio man says he fired a warning shots to scare off Bigfoot trying to break into his home.
Why in Ohio?
Why not? Everything's in Ohio, Don.
Apparently so.
That's
including our friend D.
Right. Well, D and several others.
Yes,
Yeah,
several others.
Ohio. Something's going on in that state, ladies and gentlemen. That is like
everywhere.
Yeah. They got grass mans everywhere.
You want some grass?
A bunch of people running around on a microbus. Oh, get away, kids! It's the grass man. VW microbus. Hey man, you want some grass? And they say things like groovy and yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so let's see what's going on in Ohio here because this is pretty bizarre. Again, I'm reading this from the singularfortean.com, ladies and gentlemen. It's operated by Tobias Whalen and his wife. I think it's his wife, anyway. Great site. Go to it, singularfortean.com, to check out all the Fortean news that they put up over there. And they do a great job. I love this site. A man in Bainbridge Township, Ohio, reportedly fired 2 warning shots to frighten off a Bigfoot he thought was attempting to break into his home in the early morning hours of October the 22nd. So that was just weeks ago, Don.
Yeah.
According to the Cleveland.com police blotter, after hearing gunshots at 4:26 a.m. October 22nd, a resident called police. Officers arrived and questioned a man who admitted to firing warning shots at a 7-foot-tall Bigfoot creature or bear, but he said he had tried to open his front door and get his dogs. Now that's really not uncommon that I think they think that domesticated pets are just like drive-through food.
Snacks, yeah.
You know, because it's not like they got to really hunt them down. You just look for houses that have them.
And shut the door behind you and they can't get away.
Right, exactly. I mean, they're kind of in a tough place because they're very they're very protective of their home, of course, dogs are. So, but you know, how many times have we heard stories through the years of Bigfoot snatching dogs?
Yeah. And rattling doors, yeah.
Yep, exactly. Now, I have to tell you that to see a Bigfoot looking in the window has got to be creepy, and it's got to be really, really disheartening and really nerve-wracking. But the moment that door handle would turn, then it becomes absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Then it becomes literally, in my mind, it becomes life and death, because at that point they're crossing a threshold that they're either coming because they're curious and they're going to kill you because they're curious, or they're coming for you and they're going to kill you that way. I mean, once they come in the house, that's a whole different ball of wax.
It's a whole shooting match right there.
Right. I mean, it really is. It's a duck hunt at that point, because they're coming in for a reason. Now, as shy and elusive as these things normally are, it would take extraordinary circumstances to drive them, I would think, to come to your house. Now, it could be an injured one that can't hunt very good, and he's desperate, might be starving. He's all out of options, or she, whatever the case may be, might be sickly, and you know, it's going to go for the slowest prey it can, and it's either our pets or us. I mean, that's the only thing they're going to find in there.
Yep.
So once they come in the house, I think it's a different kind of game.
Yeah.
And that's a scary, terrifying game, because you've got to pretty much have an elephant gun to take one of these guys down. I mean, they don't just go, ooh, that stings, ouch. You know, they just keep going. So, and if they're in your house, my God, because then they're trapped in there too if they can't make it to the door. So I don't know, just be once that door handle turns, man, that's a whole scary game right there. I don't mean to keep repeating that, but my God. So let me continue reading and see what happens here. So he said the creature visits his home every night at about 8 p.m. The subject was not intoxicated. Officers could not find any creature footprints or signs of an animal visit, and the man was advised to call police if it should return, and advised against firing shots into the air. Police officers responded to the 60-year-old man's residence on Lorraine Street. They give out the street he lives on, where he admitted to firing the warning shots in his backyard to scare away an animal, reported 19 News. When asked by an officer if the animal might have been a bear, the man responded, "It ain't no effing bear," because it was jiggling my doorknob.
Bears have been known to jiggle doorknobs.
Well, this guy didn't think that was a bear.
He doesn't think it's very funny.
No.
Bear with us. We're getting there.
What?
Nothing. Keep on.
The man also reportedly told officers that the creature repeatedly returns to his home because his neighbors feed it bananas.
Oh.
Really? Huh.
It must be a Bigfoot then.
That's a little cliche, isn't it? This story out of Ohio is reminiscent of 2 relatively recent incidents involving Bigfoot and firearms, one in which a man out target shooting on public land near Helena, Washington, was shot at by another man who mistook him for a Bigfoot.
That's right.
Oh, man.
You read that one.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I've read thousands and thousands of stories, so it's hard to remember them all. On December 17th, 2018, and another on July 28th, 2019, in which a couple were visiting Kentucky's Mammoth Cave National Park. This one was just this last summer. I guess this year, July, and called emergency services after a man and his son opened fire in the woods following a cryptic warning about being in Bigfoot country.
Oh, boy.
In addition to New Hampshire, man wrote to the Conway Daily Sun in a letter published August 19th, 2019, to posit, P-O-S-I-T, that a recent string of break-ins being blamed on bears in the region is actually the work of a Sasquatch. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like, and I think I posted that article where the break-ins are being blamed on Sasquatch. I think that was Mysterious Universe.
You did.
Was talking about that. What a horrible thing.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing. But, yeah. Yikes. I tell you.
Hey, Lena Hickman's here. Hi, Lena. Haven't seen you in a while.
It's great to see you, Lena. We missed you. Where you been? Aloha, Lena from Hawaii, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Don, who's here?
What, you mean like shout-outs? Oh,
yeah.
Gosh, let's see.
Let's roll that list,
Hey,
brother.
here's someone I haven't seen in a while. I saw her at Paisley Show like last week, but A Sage is with us. Hi, Sage. Anxiety Talks. How are you? Bama BF's in the house. Our good friend Black Tree. Bobby Eads is here. Cameron. Chris Jarvis. There's Ms. D and Ms. Deborah. Elaine is here. Foul Owl. That's a new name to me.
I like that Foul Owl. That's cool.
And you know what? That avatar he's got, or whoever that is, that's from a Rush album.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Gemini is here. Heather's here. Isaac. John Nelson's here. Lane's here. Of course, I said Lena. Hi, Lena. Linda's here. Marilinda's here. Mary just popped in. Mog's here. Mogyan Monster. Rhonda Williams and Ken Rotman from Down Under. Jay Lou popped in, and someone else just popped in. Who was it?
Gina Berthelot.
There you go.
Yeah, I just saw that come up in the chat. Hello, Gina.
Yes,
welcome to the
nice.
show.
Hi, how are you?
Is that all?
That's all I see so far.
Did you say Skunk Ape 69?
Nope, didn't see that one yet.
Yeah, that one's in the chat now, too.
Sweet.
Lots of spaces between is here.
Oh, Miss Paisley Wild.
Yeah, so thank you guys all for being here and being a part of our shows. And the Duke. Did you say the Duke?
Oh, yeah, he wasn't in that list, but yes, Duke. Yes, Jim. Yes, Black Tree. I said you. Gosh.
Did you say me, Don?
No, me.
What about me?
Oh, you know who I didn't say?
I don't.
Cha-Cha.
Oh, Cha-Cha. How you doing, Cha-Cha?
Yeah, and I just got yelled at about it. Go figure. Nobody can forget about choo-choo, cha-cha, cha-cha, choo-choo, however you want to say
Don't say choo-choo. That came up in a story, too. And I'm waiting for that name to show up somewhere.
it. It already has. You missed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So cha-cha, din-din. There you are. Hi.
Oh, my God. Oh, you guys.
And she popped in. She says, hi. Anxiety Talk says Cha-Cha's trying to sleep. Well, not anymore. We're on.
Trying to sleep?
Yeah,
What?
You can't sleep during the show.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Gosh.
Or do our dulcet tones soothe you
Tones.
to sleepy slumberland? It's time for sleepy slumberland.
We're that boring?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we usually are anyway.
We can't possibly be.
If we are, then we're in the wrong line of work.
Yes, Pat. How are you? Pat Studios here.
Hey, Pat.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Yes, Cha-Cha says no sleeping. Yes, Cha-Cha, no sleeping.
sleep for the week.
Lewis is here, popped in. Were you done with that one, by the way?
What, the story?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I read them all. I read that all anyway. There's more. I think there's more. There's talk here about, well, this one's been going around for a while.
What about the one under it? About the UFO?
We already did that one.
When?
That was a few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. It's from November 13th.
No, that's right. I remember now.
Yeah, it's from like last week.
I misread that. Yes,
it is. This reminds me of Bigfoot Odyssey, that picture there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Unknown individuals confiscated data from 2004 Nimitz UFO encounter, says former sailors. Wow. So
Men in Black?
So this is the Tic Tac craft, that's the footage that was released, apparently in error.
Right.
But it was released, some anomalous Navy sightings of these spacecraft. And I use them on the break, the middle break, the UFO break, the first one. You'll see some of those footages on the first break that we use on the Friday Saturday show, but they're known as the Tic Tac craft in the field or in the UFO community. But the Nimitz was the mothership of those jets that was tracking those. Now, more information has come out since the footage was released first, and everybody was just awed, like, oh my God, the Navy's actually releasing anomalous footage that they can't explain. This is really cool. And everybody thought we were moving towards disclosure, but it turns out it was released in error, that nobody was supposed to release it, but somehow it was released to the Stars Academy, and then it was kind of just out there.
Right.
I don't know how or where the misstep was in that one, but it's cool that it happened, because it is just the same thing as disclosure in a large part. So what else has come out is that there was some other behind the scenes stuff that was going on, and that's what this article is about. So let's see what it says. And again, this is from the Singular 40 and the hot sheets of the Paranormal Portal. So let's see what it says. 5 former Navy servicemen came forward recently to participate in an interview with Tim McMillan for Popular Mechanics, published November 12th, regarding the now famous 2004 Nimitz UFO incident. According to a report acquired by journalist George Knapp, in early 2019, between approximately November 10th and the 16th, 2004, as the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was preparing for deployment, the USS Princeton, on several incidents or occasions, detected multiple anomalous aerial vehicles, AAVs. So, Don, there's UFOs, unidentified flying objects. There's UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. And now there's AAVs, anomalous aerial vehicles. Just in case you were keeping track, Don.
Yeah, all those acronyms. Great.
So there's a new one now. It's AAV, anomalous aerial vehicles, operating in and around the vicinity of the CSG, which is the Carrier Strike Group of the Nimitz. These AAVs would perform maneuvers unlike any with which military pilots were familiar, including descending from approximately 60,000 feet down to approximately 50 feet in a matter of seconds. The objects would then hover or stay stationary on the radar for a short time and depart at high velocities and turn rates, stated the document. The craft that appeared in the above video was reported to be an elongated Egger tic-tac shape with a discernible midline horizontal axis, and was solid white, smooth, with no edges, uniformly colored, with no nacelles, pylons, or wings. The report listed the object's size as approximately 46 feet in length. So it is actually quite big.
Yeah.
It just gives you an idea how far away it was when it was recorded, because it looked like, a tic-tac. So that's a big-ass tic-tac, Don.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of that particular one?
I don't know.
These queries and more.
57 jillion. The report listed the object size of approximately 46 feet in length. It's claimed in an interview for the Popular Mechanics that following one of the Nimitz UFO incidents, 2 unknown individuals, men in black, confiscated all data collected from the encounter. Petty Officer Patrick P.J. Hughes, an aviation technician aboard the USS Nimitz, says he was told by his commanding officer to surrender the hard drive data recorders from the airborne early warning aircraft to 2 unidentified individuals on November 14th, 2004, which included data recorded from a Hawkeye airborne early warning aircraft that had encountered the UFOs. We call them bricks, but they contain the software to run the airplane, and they also can record a lot of the data that the aircrew sees during the flight, said Hughes. The 2 individuals were not on the ship earlier. I didn't see them come on, and I'm not sure how they got there. He said, we put the recently secured hard drives in the bags. My commanding officer took them. Then he and the 2 anonymous officers left. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Princeton, Petty Officer 3rd Class Gary Voorhis had an encounter similar to Hughes. These 2 guys show up on a helicopter, which wasn't uncommon. But shortly after they arrived, maybe 20 minutes, I was told by my chain of command to turn over all the data recordings for the AEGIS system, Aegis, said Voorhis. Voorhis was also told by command to reload the recorders for the ship's Advanced Combat Engagement Center, CEC, because it had also been wiped clean, along with the optical drives with all the radio communications. They even told me to erase everything that's in the shop, even the blank tapes, he said, adding that the only other time he recalled being commanded to turn over data tapes like that was after an aircraft crashed during one of the combat deployments. According to Ryan Weigelt, the former leading petty officer and power plant specialist for the SH-60B Seahawk helicopter, 2 men wearing generic flight suits initially arrived on the Princeton, but flew off on one of his detachment SH-60B helicopters before returning with a bunch of bags. Weigelt said the 2 men retired to the Admiral's quarters on the Princeton, where a guard was posted outside of the door. This news follows a chain of information slowly released through to the STARS Academy of Arts and Science and government sources since 2017, when news broke of the Pentagon's secretive UFO project known as the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, or AATIP. More acronyms, Don.
I know.
You gotta love some acronyms. I'm an acrophobia.
Yeah. Is that acrophobic?
Yeah, I'm acrophobic, I think. Most recently, TTSA announced that it will be partnering with the U.S. Army to advance materials and technology innovations. Losers. Prior to that, Luis Elizondo, a former Department of Defense intelligence officer, program head for the AATIP, who currently serves as the TTSA Director of Global Security and Special Programs, told the New York Times that the results of any studies done on the metamaterials which the TTSA announced were in their possession last July are still pending due to the employment of scientific methods. Yeah, right. They're just classifying it as all. A few months prior to the news of the reported acquired metamaterials, 5 Navy pilots told the New York Times that unidentified flying objects were an almost daily occurrence from the summer of 2014 through March 2015. 2 of the pilots, Lieutenant Ryan Graves and Lieutenant Danny Acoyne, agreed to go on record with their experiences with both the New York Times and the History Channel UFO documentaries Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation, a project created in tandem with TTSA. The pilot's testimony prompted several senators to request and receive private briefings on the encounters in response to questions regarding the pilot's reports. President Trump has gone on record as saying he does not particularly believe that the Navy pilots are seeing UFOs. And that's not exactly true. He said
plausible denial.
Well, he said that he really wasn't sure. That he said first that no, he doesn't. That quote was right, but he went on to say, well, maybe it's hard to know, that kind of thing. So it wasn't a complete statement.
Purple cows and all.
Yeah. It is unclear at this time if the president's statements reflect anything other than a general disinterest in the subject. Which, if it's Trump, I can believe that. I mean, he probably doesn't spend a lot of time looking at the stars, wondering what the aliens are up to.
The only stars he looks at is the one on this.
Yeah, the one on his door, his desk. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against President Trump. I think he's pretty cool and all, but he's cut from a different cloth than most everybody else, I think. The narrative built from those accounts is not without controversy in the UFO community, having received some pushback from researchers. That argument stems mostly from the seemingly cyclical nature of the government's public interest in UFOs and the disinformation associated therewith, exacerbated by the presence within TTSA of former intelligence agency personnel in prominent positions. Exactly. So basically, they just became private contractors, is what that means. Those long festering doubts of TTSA's worthiness due to the cooperation associated with the U.S. government are now compounded following the Public Benefit Corporation's new agreement with the Army. John Greenwald Jr. of the Black Vault has done significant fact-checking on claims made by TTSA and his representatives, most recently publishing a series of statements that show the U.S. Navy never cleared for public release 3 UFO videos distributed by Elizondo and the TTSA. And although the Navy did acknowledge that the objects within the video, referring to respectively as FLIR 1, Gimbal, and Go Fast, were unidentified aerial phenomena. Given those discrepancies, the TTSA's statements and their now apparent partnership with the U.S. Army, more people within the UFO community are expressing concerns that the Public Benefit Corporation was created as a massive spin operation to control the narrative surrounding unidentified flying objects.
Do you think?
Bum, bum, bum. No way. However, as more former and current military personnel come forward to relate their experiences with UFOs, there is little doubt within the community that, if nothing else, the cases being presented have merit. There you go. That
TTSA, ABC.
Yeah. Sorry, did you just suicide, Don? Hey, Don, did you just have a suicide? Let me know. I'll mute your mic. Hold on, I don't think Don's camera's working all of a sudden.
What happened? He's laying on the floor.
Don, why are you making that weird noise?
What's all the twitching for?
Exactly. Oh. Just because you got to look at all possibilities, ladies and gentlemen.
Eat a can of alphabet soup. Oh my God.
There you go. You'll always feel better after a little alphabet soup.
So that says basically that the TTSA is now in doubt as a.
I told you, as soon as I heard they made that agreement with the military, it's like,
yeah,
it's done. These guys are just mouthpieces now.
Hey, look, another talking head.
Yeah, we need more of that.
Yes.
But they're positioned themselves as one of us when really they're not. And they somehow got Linda Moulton Howe to release some of her materials.
Yeah.
Hey, let us check them out. now
Sorry,
they're all classified
into the Army's vaults right next to the Ark of the Covenants.
Geez, Linda, you guess what? I put them in my socks, and I did the wash, and now they're gone.
It was in my left sock, and it's always the left sock that disappears.
Yep, exactly. It just disappears to the laundry gods somewhere else. In this case, a Black Project's bunker somewhere. I'm thinking.
Oh my goodness.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. That is the hot sheets for tonight.
Wow. So that's disheartening.
It is really disheartening. Yeah, the TTSA is a bunch of crap. I don't care what anybody says. Then Tom DeLonge can kiss my
your DeLonge.
My disgruntled butt cushion. I don't know. I don't know what to say, ladies and gentlemen. I just think that it's just creepy as hell.
That's just convenient how.
What you got to think about it. I mean, most government contracts are developed in universities anyway. So why couldn't they have just gone to universities to study these materials? Why did they need to get into an agreement with Army? And I don't get me wrong. I'm all for developing better materials that might save lives of soldiers and stuff. That's awesome. That's amazing. But when it's when it's at the expense of public safety too. I mean, if these materials are amazing and earth-shattering new protection and lightweight and would save energy and save lives, it should be open to everybody. It shouldn't just be put on tanks, And that's my qualm with it, I guess, is that I don't like the idea that they entered into this agreement with the Army Special Materials Project and whatever they find and if they can duplicate it, we're never going to know. Yeah, it's going to get locked up somewhere and forgot about in a hurry. So anyway, that's it. That's my 2 cents on all that, ladies and gentlemen, and that was the hot sheets.
Cha-Cha says, $1 million idea to eliminate the missing left sock. Sell socks in bundles of 3. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah, it's brilliant. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Because then if you lose one sock, you still got an extra one. So
that's why I buy all the same sock.
They just all go together.
Well, because if one gets a hole in it, you just throw it away and you just grab the next one in line.
That's right. Yep.
Buy all the same sock. You don't have a problem.
That's true.
Cade Moya, how are you?
Cade is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Cade Moya.
He says, "Look, Don decided to show up for work today."
Yeah, well,
no, Don didn't go to work today. That's why I showed up here.
No. It's good to see everybody here. Thank you guys for being here and being a part of our journey tonight.
Yes.
So you had something really interesting done.
Oh, did I? I kind of did.
I thought it sounded cool. Why don't you?
Snap. It says, oh, snap. Can't find the link. What happened? It was right there. Not supposed to.
Welcome to the Paranormal Portal.
Scientists find evidence that humans are alien race and not from this earth. Like this is new information. But it was just written just this month. Many people with Rh negative blood feel like they don't belong on Earth. Now there's growing belief that they know why. Oh, come on. Scroll, computer. More than one scientist... Okay, now stop scrolling, computer. Hold on. Gosh, you gotta love these pop-ups.
Stand by as Don has a complete dialogue with his computer.
Yes. More than one scientist has, over the years, wondered why humans are so different than any other animal on Earth. Now, one man thinks he has the answer. Dr. Ellis Silver has developed an extraordinary theory that explains some of the scientific oddities about mankind. We are not, he says, native to this planet. In fact, he claims we were transported here between 60,000 and 200,000 years ago from another star system, likely Alpha Centauri. He suggests, for example, that we might be prone to suffering from back pain because our bodies evolved on a planet with lower gravity. And he points out a number of other ways which we are not well adapted to our current environment, including intolerance to numerous common foods and even the inability to cope with strong sunlight. Dr. Silver thinks he knows why we ended up so far from home, too. He said, one reason for this is that the Earth might be a prison planet since we seem to be naturally violent species and we're here until we learn to behave ourselves. He got this idea that he first got his idea that humans might be immigrants to this planet when we became dazzled by the sun. I was walking along the street, he says, in his book Humans Are Not From Earth, a scientific evaluation of the evidence, and was hit full in the face by the sun's powerful glare. Total whiteout, couldn't see a thing. He says that when he found some shade and was able to see again, he was struck by the presence of birds everywhere. They weren't shielding their eyes with their wings. They weren't in pain, as I had been. They weren't blindly crashing into buildings and trees. They weren't diving for shelter. Dr. Silver points out that birds have an extra third eyelid that prevents a lot of unnecessary light getting through. Our one-time rivals on this planet, the Neanderthals, had a prominent brow ridge that kept the sun out of their eyes. Also like a built-in bill on your baseball cap. But humans, he says, have nothing. Just the vestigial remains of a lost third eyelid that's, for some reason, evolution decided we didn't need. And we didn't need it, Silver says, because we didn't evolve here. He goes on to list all the situations where being dazzled by the sun can be dangerous, even fatal, and notes that in a supposed autopsy of gray aliens, the space travelers have a removable, non-blinking, dark membrane over their eye. So that big bug eye is actually like a pair of sunglasses.
But he said a membrane.
Right.
So it sounds biological, yeah?
Well, it's biological, but it's like a biological piece of sunglass. That's why they're big and round and dark eyes. He says that the unsuitability for living on Earth is responsible for millions of niggling health problems worldwide.
What the hell is niggling?
That's what it says.
There's niggling problems. I hate them.
If you can find a single person who is 100% and healthy and not suffering from some perhaps hidden or unstated condition or disorder, I would be extremely surprised. I had not been able to find anyone. Oh, is that it? Really? Just drops cold like that? No, here it is.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so we go from them niggling things.
Niggling, minor bit annoying from Duke. Thanks,
Okay.
Duke.
Thanks, Duke.
We now have an expanded vocabulary.
We always do a Duke around.
Yep.
Dr. Silver's somewhat offbeat theory is endorsed by anthropologist Robert Sepehr. Sepehr. Sepehr's book
Sepeh.
Sepehr.
Sepahar.
No, because the H is Sepehr.
Separ,
The
probably.
E is before the H. Whatever.
Right.
I may have mangled his name.
Yeah. A little
Anyhow,
bit. That's right.
his book, Species of Amnesia, Our Hidden History, touches on a number of unique traits of humanity, such as Rh negative blood. It reads, there are 612 primate species and subspecies recognized by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and not one has Rh negative blood. He adds, though, that roughly 85% of humans have Rh positive blood, yet he says all members of the royal families have Rh negative blood.
Okay. Wow.
He also believes that they're just the latest of a number of civilizations that have occupied Earth. We are just the latest of the number of civilizations that have occupied Earth.
Okay.
In every case, he claims those civilizations have been struck by some global calamity and died out without just a few select holding on to secret knowledge of the previous societies. Another researcher who believes that people with Rh negative blood type are descended from ancient astronauts is writer Lara Starr.
Okay.
Rh positive blood can be traced back to the rhesus monkey and all other primates, but Rh negative blood cannot. In fact, she continues, it cannot be traced anywhere else in nature. Starr claims that people originally from the Basque region on the borders of France and Spain are more likely to have Rh negative blood than people from anywhere else on Earth. She goes on to say that the original Basque language is unrelated to any other and theorizes that it could be the original language spoken by space travelers before they began to hybridize themselves with the Neanderthals and other early hominids.
Okay.
The connection may not be purely historical. Starr notes that people who report having been abducted by aliens are also especially likely to have Rh negative blood. So, not only did the aliens send us here, there are signs that they want us back.
Well, nice.
So there you go. So that's interesting. You know, I've been meaning to do a lot more research into the Rh negative and Rh positive stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because there was one of our podcast listeners asked us to look into that, because she said something about women with Rh negative blood, if she's pregnant,
Right. Yep.
it's like lupus. The Rh negative blood, the properties of that attack the baby.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So
I almost forgot about that,
Yeah.
but you're right.
and that's interesting in and of itself, because so would that be somebody with Rh positive blood and Rh negative blood having a baby, and the baby's Rh positive instead of Rh negative?
I don't know.
Or is it a blood type specific thing, or does the Rh negative just say the baby is a parasitic organism and
Right.
wants to get rid of it?
Yeah, the person that wrote us said they had to be prescribed a special medicine to
That's
keep
right.
their body from attacking the fetus
That's
or whatever.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. I've heard this.
This is not a valid menu option.
What the hell was that?
That's the second time that has ever happened. I have no idea where that's coming from, ever.
Bum, bum, bum.
That's the second time on the live show.
Not a valid. It's
Menu.
got to be something to do with Skype.
Well, you'd think, but I'm not doing anything with Skype. I wasn't even touching anything. I
That's
wasn't even
true, you
touching my
weren't.
mouse
I
or
saw
keyboard or
that.
anything.
Wow.
I don't know. Strange. I don't know. It's definitely some computerized process.
It's
somewhere.
not Alexa, D. It's not Alexa. It's not connected to the computer.
No.
It may be Gremlins. Yes, that's true, Chris.
It's just
Could be
strange, though. I don't know what it is. I don't have any clue where that's coming from. It happens. Obviously, it's happened one other time, so it's something.
So much Jake says it's Sophia mixing it up. It's actually Sophia, the AI robot.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's in TFR though, isn't it?
No. That's
Oh.
just what Chris named that. No, there's
Oh.
the actual
Right.
robot that's
The AI,
yeah.
that whole legendary Sophia thing. Yeah.
But you have Windows, so that'd be Cortana.
Yeah, that should be a Cortana voice for Windows.
Right.
I don't have. I mean, there's no other voice commanded application going.
Well, you do have a tabathon going on.
Right, but I wasn't touching anything, and there's no little speakers showing up on these tabs that should be if anything was broadcasting. I don't know, other than Skype, unless there's something built into Skype. But that's just strange. I don't know what the hell it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the portal, though. That's just the weirdness of the show. I love the show, obviously, but it kind of has a mind of its own.
Foul Owl says actually they attacked the second baby. What did I miss? Maybe they just like the taste. Well, they do have good food. The Basque do. Excuse me.
Ghost in the machine. Yeah, exactly, Brandon. There's a few ghosts in the machine, in the portal especially, but generally it's pretty. There's just odd things that happen here and there, and this is one of them. But why? I don't know. But Don can attest. I wasn't touching anything. My hands weren't even on my mouse. So
he doesn't fondle his mouse. Mary H says, track what you're talking about when it happens, trying to throw you off topic. It doesn't take a whole lot to do that. However, we have had issues with one of our MIB shows.
Oh, yeah.
We had the MIB loop.
We did. We had a really spooky show.
That was crazy.
And I've played it before
Yes.
on the show, but it's a really long loop. But what happened where we were doing a show on the MIBs,
Minutes, yeah.
and we were like an hour and 40 minutes in. We had 15 minutes left of the show, and I don't know what we were talking about at that moment, but pow, we got zapped off the air. I mean, we got zapped off the air. No, it was like at
We were almost done.
Yeah,
we
no,
were
it was
the last 15 minutes.
because we couldn't connect for 15 minutes though. Remember
that's
that?
true, yeah.
So we got on for the last 3 minutes, and that's where that loop happened. But when we did finally connect, we couldn't reconnect. Something really bizarre had happened, and I'll see if I can find that sound file. It's creepy.
I think I wonder if I might have it because we played it on the 100 episode show.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let me see.
This one I've pretty much transferred all my files off of this one, but that one's part of lore too. Oh, that was a good one, and that loop had Deb Varner in it because she was on the night before or something.
Well, it's like the network. It was when we were on TFR,
Yeah.
so the network went to it was dead air for a while. We couldn't connect again, so the backup system went to a standby episode, which happened to be Deb Varner, and it started
Grab one piece of it.
Well, then we reconnected after that backup episode started playing, and then it just took that piece of dialogue and started looping it with this degrading loop. And I'm going to try to find it because it's really freaky.
It was crazy.
Since we're talking about the portal and all the odd things that happen on this show, let me see if I can figure out where it is, though. This is going to be kind of the tough part.
10,000. It's got to be. Look in the 100 episode file.
Do I have one?
You should because you put it together for 100.
I know, but I think it was on.
That was 2 years ago at least.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But yeah, we did play it because Lucky was listening on TFR and she's like, "Can you stop that annoying noise?" It's that was the whole point.
That was the whole show, was that annoying noise, that last few minutes of the show. I'll look for it.
I wish I could remember where I may have had it.
It's got to be in one of these folders, but I don't remember which one. Not in the logos, not in photos. It must be in.
Can you search for MIB loop or strange loop or search?
I don't know. I can do a lot of things, but I don't know which word.
I can do a lot of things. I don't know if that's one of them.
I don't know.
Because I think I called it MIB loop.
I didn't plan on using it for the show. Otherwise, I would have had it coming up and ready to go. But is it under sound file? What the hell is this? Oh, that's the Demon Scream.
Oh gosh, you got to play that too.
You want to hear those? Do you want to hear the scariest EVP I've ever heard in my life? This is not recorded by me, ladies and gentlemen, but it is the most terrifying EVP I've ever heard in my life. And the story is, this family kept getting woke up in the night by these horrific screams, and so they finally called in a paranormal investigator, and he placed a recorder in a basement for 3 consecutive nights. First night came back, nothing was recorded. Second night came back, nothing was recorded. The third night, however, I'll play you what was recorded. And just be warned. I want everybody to be warned. This is a horrifying sound.
It actually is.
You can't unhear it after you've heard it, and it is...
As a matter of fact, Pixie would refuse to listen to it.
Yeah, well, it's not easy for me to listen to, and I've heard it hundreds of times.
Yes.
And to this point now, it is the most like angry, pained, howling scream I've ever heard in my life. And this was recorded in a basement at apparently like 2:15 in the morning or 3 something in the morning. I can't remember. I think it was just after 2 a.m. Family was asleep, and this is what was recorded on the digital recorder that this person left, the investigator left. There it is.
No, Spider, that was not a planned Rickroll. That's straight up. That is exactly what it was.
That is the most horrible thing I've ever heard recorded in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Gemini.
Yeah.
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 That is the kind of thing that I get chills right now.
Yeah.
And it just makes me cringe. Like, oh my God, if I heard that in my basement, I'd like be lobbing fire bombs down there or something. Like, kill it with fire, kill it with fire.
Cade, if you need context, roll back about 35 seconds, maybe 45 now.
Yeah, it was recorded by a.
Cade's like, what the F was that?
That was recorded by a paranormal researcher who was helping a family out, and this is it's probably from the 90s. But he put a pocket recorder, a digital recorder, down in the basement for 3 nights. The family kept getting woke up at about 2 to 3 a.m. every night by this horrifying screaming sound. And he left it down there for 3 nights. The first night, he got nothing. Second night, he got nothing. But the third night, he recorded that. And the only thing he said he did, he swears he never did anything to do anything to it other than he jacked up the gain a little bit so that it could be really easily heard, but just a little bit.
Chris Driver says, I would have left that minute. Screw my belongings, screw the house, pets, and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, but what a horrifyingly painful, tormented scream. And it's like beastly.
Paisley says, in my basement, I'd burn the house.
Yeah, it's just, it is really, really the most horrible thing I've ever heard. It's really among the most horrible things I've ever heard in my life. You guys want to hear it again?
Of course they do.
All right, I'll play it one more time, but again, it's just horrible. All right, here we go. Ken says, sounds like home. Where the hell did you grow up, Ken? No, apparently, that was the oddity of it, that, it was just in a basement. So this is an underground basement. Right. So, I'm sure it was very audible. It's like whatever it was screamed right into the thing, right into the recorder or very near it. It's, I don't know. Maybe it was really soundproof. Maybe they didn't have close neighbors. I don't know. That's just the story. Yeah, exactly. Bobby Eads says, nope. Yeah.
Whole bag of nopes.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Lewis. And I can only chalk that up to a demon scream.
Yeah.
There's several different kind of demonic presences. There's a oppressive demon that targets a person. There's a possession, of course, where it has targeted in one. But there's also infestation. And infestation is where it occupies a space in a house. And I think that this is a real strong candidate for a demonic infestation.
Yes.
It wasn't necessarily attaching to a person or targeting a person specifically, but apparently just laid claim to the basement and said, "This is now mine." And if it screamed like that, it can freaking have it. If I opened my basement door and heard that, I don't think there's much that they could entice me to go and deal with it. It's like, I don't want to see what made that. I don't want to see what made that noise.
Well, you read that. You were talking about that stuff on the Monday podcast about haunted houses and how people go looking and paying premiums.
Yes.
To
not only premiums, but exactly, premiums. They'll pay more if a house is haunted, and I think that's absolutely stupid because you don't know what the hell's haunting it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with haunted houses, and I don't know if I brought this up on Monday's podcast or not, but I think I alluded to it in the dialogue, but you really don't know what's haunting the house. You can assume it's a person. It may or may not be. And maybe that entity, whatever it is okay with most people. What if it freaking hates you? Everybody's had that experience where you go somewhere and for some reason, there's someone there you don't like, and you don't know why, but there's something about that person that you don't want to have anything to do with. What if that's the way this entity thinks about you?
Yeah.
And what could happen? How high could it escalate? So people are like, I want to live in a haunted house. It's like, I understand that, but you got to be really super careful. What a reckless thing to wish for is to have a house with a spirit in it.
Yes.
Because it might really hate you and it might really go out of its way to kill you, or to make your life miserable. So anyway, enough about that. But I don't know if I can find that sound looped on. I'll keep thinking about where I might have it in here.
Yeah, I'm looking for it because I really want to get to it now.
Yeah, I kind of do too. Well, I mean, not kind of. I really do, but I just don't remember. There's Black-Eyed Kids. I'm just looking through different things that I've got here. I don't know. Doesn't seem like this one has any sound files at all. So they're somewhere, and my organization is terrible at best. Terrible at best is all I'm going to say. But
oh my goodness, yeah, you can't unhear that horrible thing.
It is horrible. Yeah, that one is truly one of the. I don't know. I don't need to say it again, I guess, but it really creeps me out. It's just one of those sounds that just goes right to my soul. Oof, makes me cringe. But what else we got, Don?
I sidetracked. Let's see here. So let's get rid of the RH negative story. Regarding the RH negative, Foul Owl said that if a woman with RH negative blood has a baby that has RH positive, the RH negative attack the baby as I had brought.
So if the baby has RH negative or the mom?
If the mom has RH
and
negative.
The baby has positive.
Positive. Right,
okay.
Right.
Yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah.
That's so sad. I mean, one of the most beautiful things in the world is your child, and to think that your body'd be like, no, it's an invader.
There actually is reports of women having, in third world countries mostly, but women having calcified fetuses that they've carried for years, and they didn't know what it was, and then for some reason they had some X-ray or a body scan of some type, and they found internally aborted calcified fetus.
And they never passed it.
Never passed it. Right.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's a symptom of that particular phenomena.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, that's all these crazy, scary things.
Right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to point out on Friday this week, we have a special guest joining us, and that is Mr. Donald Raymond Schmidt.
Yes.
He'll be joining us here on the show, joining me. Unfortunately, Don won't be able to make it.
Yes.
But he'll be on the show, and we'll be discussing more of the UFO phenomenon. I'm sure I'm going to talk to him about the TTSA and see what his take is on that and all of this stuff, because I'm sure he will have a much more informed position on it than I do. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong with my idea and my approach on this. So it'll be great to have him on, because he is literally like the authority on the Roswell incident for sure.
Yes.
He knows just that. He knows the whole thing, up, down, sideways, and backwards. Has interviewed thousands of people in regards and in connection to the Roswell incident.
Yes.
And just a really cool man, very nice man, and a fun guy to talk to. So
And he just put out, didn't he just put out a book about Wright-Patterson? Yes, he just did a book on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah, he did.
So that's, yeah. I'm sure he'll want to talk about that.
He's been all over the world. He was just in Australia not too long ago. I know Cade said, "Hey, wasn't he on your show?" And I was like, "No, I got the dates wrong." So that was the mix-up. But and then Saturday night we got a new guest on that we've never had on the show before. Someone I really haven't met, but he's an author, and his book is called. Let me pull this up. It goes by the name of Truth Seeker, and his book is called. Dun dun dun. It's Spirit Realm, Angels, Demons, Spirits, and the Sovereignty of God. And his book has a foreword by Jordan Maxwell, which is really cool. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. It looks like a great book. He sent a copy of it to me, and I've been reading through it, and really, really interesting. He's got a really unique insight into all of this, and I'm looking forward to having him on the show. And so that's Friday and Saturday night, guests both nights this coming weekend. So make sure to mark your calendar and join me here on the show.
Hi, Dana.
Hi, Dana.
How are you? It's another name I haven't seen in a while.
Mostly.
She's been lurking.
She's been lurking mostly. I'm lurking mostly.
I think it was I Am Pam said, just throw a Snickers into the basement.
Yeah. All of a sudden it's like a puppy.
Yeah. Gives you them puppy dog eyes.
Turns into a kitten after it eats it. Sure.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's the upcoming shows. I want to make sure to remember to talk about that as well. I got a cool story here.
You do? Awesome.
Says, saw something large and extremely fast when I was younger, possibly Bigfoot or a dog man.
Oh.
And it says, I feel it's just an obligation to say that I too am a skeptic. I've been trying to convince myself I didn't see a large hairy humanoid thing in the woods all those years ago, but I did. There's something somewhere, this was somewhere around the mid-2000s when I was in middle school and I was staying at a friend's house for the night in the backwoods of Michigan for privacy. We'll say his name is Jay. The letter J, not J-A-Y.
Agent J.
Agent J, yes, K. Immediately behind Jay's house was a few acres of woods that led to a lake. If you went straight back into the woods from his backyard, there was a path that went straight to the lake, which was intersected at 90 degrees by another path about halfway to the lake. Probably a quarter mile from the backyard to the lake if you went straight down the path from the backyard and then turned left at the intersection. The path was a downhill grade followed by a flat portion, followed by an uphill grade, which eventually ran into a 2-lane country road, one of those 55-mile-an-hour ones that goes on for miles with not so much as one or two houses for miles. Well, it was late in the afternoon. The sun was just starting to set, and we, being middle school boys, were running around the woods all afternoon playing with fake guns and stuff. Good times. Absolutely nothing leading up to this point was strange, no weird or eerie feelings, no odd, unidentified sounds, no paranoia or ghost stories prior to playing in the woods, just two bros running around having a great time outside. Well, we were basically pretending we were army guys, and at one point, I decided to run off saying something about flanking the enemy. He dashes off to my left, and I start creeping through the woods and pretending to shoot down bad guys as I went. Well, I found myself standing at the intersection described earlier, straight forward as towards the lake. To the left was the path that went down, then back up to the road. I was standing, looking diagonally between the two paths when I hear some faint sound slightly off to my right towards the lake. What I saw made my whole body tingle in the worst possible way. About 50 feet, maybe more, maybe less, towards the lake, and just behind a tree, I see this face and shoulder and arm peeking around it. The most terrifying part was that it was probably 2 feet or more higher than you'd expect a human's head to be. Before I could properly observe the face, which was undoubtedly hairy, it snapped back behind the tree, as if it realized that I could see it. The color of the figure I saw was light gray, like your average cement sidewalk, but because of that, I was unsure of what it was. My first couple of thoughts were sheer confusion and fear, and then, in my frozen state, I remember that Jay was wearing a shirt almost exactly that shade of gray, and I tried to whisper something, shouting his name towards the now hidden figure, I called out maybe 2 or 3 times when off about 50 feet behind me and to my left, down the path leading towards the road, Jay emerged from the thicket of trees. And this was complete opposite direction from the figure I saw. And there's no way he could have snuck around me in that short a time frame. To further drive the point home, it was fall, and the ground was covered in layers of dry, dead leaves. The crunch from the leaves was very distinct, and you couldn't avoid it. Well, anyway, I heard Jay had heard me call out from just down the slight decline. He looked up and asked what was going on. Well, I pointed off into the trees where I'd seen the figure and said, at a normal volume, I saw something big over there. As soon as I finished that sentence, I mean the very second, whatever I had been seeing started stomping off towards the road parallel to the path we were on, probably 50 to 100 feet deeper in the woods which were too thick to see anything at that distance. For some godforsaken reason, we tried to run after it. Jay and I were athletic as 6th and 7th graders could be. We played tons of sports and were fast kids. We were hauling our tail down the path parallel to the beast as fast as we could sprint, and yet it was absolutely smoking us. The road, if I remember correctly, was a solid quarter mile from the intersection of the 2 paths, and we maybe just finished running down the downhill portion when this monster was already to the road. And believe it or not, we could tell where it was from the crunching leaves, and you could hear its massive footsteps clear as day, even while running. When we realized it was getting to the road, we also realized a car was coming. I kid you not, as soon as the crunching leaves stopped and the thing stepped out onto the road, the car slammed on its brakes and punched the horn. Its tires screeched for a solid 3 or 4 seconds at least. When the car finally stopped, we heard the leaves start crunching on the other side of the road, and then the car slammed on the gas and peeled out again and took off like a bat out of hell. Keep in mind, we could only hear all of this. We didn't see the car, so there's no way we could ever track the person down to ask what they saw, but I wouldn't be surprised if their story is out there on the internet somewhere. About the time they almost turned into a Bigfoot roadkill. Anyways, we finally made it to the road and crossed the other side. And on that side, it was mostly flat woods as far as the eye could see. Nothing but trees, and more trees. No sight, no sound of the beast, and we waited for a bit and then went back home. A few things to note. Was it Bigfoot for sure? I can't say. But what I do know is that it was tall, hairy, gray, and 100% bipedal. There was absolutely no mistaking the sound of it running. It's funny, though. There's descriptions, videos, etc. of Bigfoot walking and moving far faster than a normal human, but I'm almost sure this thing was sprinting. The speed at which it reached the road was utterly unbelievable. It ran a quarter of a mile in probably close to 20 seconds, and trust me, I understand how absurd that is. There you go.
Wow.
Pretty wild. He's a skeptic, though.
So I put in the chat that, I asked, did you hit the like button?
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, I think 2 people misunderstood what I said. I said the like button, not the dislike button.
Oh, did it happen right then?
Yeah.
So maybe that's the answer to our riddle, is who's doing it, is people that don't want to be pestered about the like button.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe just maybe if we don't bring it up.
I only have one thing to say. Too bad. Scroll back up on the right-hand side where the hashtags are. Right there.
Yeah.
And there's one that says real human being.
Yeah.
What
I don't know. It's not a link, so I don't know.
It's just
somebody. It's a moderator, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
This is on Reddit, so I don't know much about
Whatever.
Reddit. I know I have an account, and I know they I've never used it before, and I put a notice for one of our shows up there, and they wiped it out right away. So
Yeah.
And then they started talking to me on messages like, "No, you can't do that on here." Like,
That's
okay,
ridiculous.
sorry. Yeah, well, God forbid you'd want to promote yourself at all. The darn internet.
Darn internet.
So that was a cool story, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Because but the slamming on the brakes, and it would that was a great story.
Okay.
But I remember those days playing in the woods, playing Army in the woods, and
Yeah, I do
running
too.
from things.
I do too, and I was like a senior in high school. That was a lot of fun. I'm just kidding. That's like what?
Huh.
No, I was much younger than that. I played ninja when I was in high school.
Sure. Oh,
Played Army guy when I was in junior high, elementary. I lived out in the country. There was like nobody to play with. It was me and sticks and rocks in the lake and the woods. That was it. But no, we had kids that would come from time to time. What's funny about that, Don? It was a hard childhood, man.
I just need to keep my mouth shut.
Why? What'd you do now?
The only one you had to play with was yourself.
Oh, there was that. You know what they say, Don.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to amuse yourself, you'll never be bored. I don't know if they say that or not, but I according to me, they do. If they don't say it, they do now.
Wow.
If they didn't, they do now.
Can you believe we've been on for an hour and 15 already?
No, I can't.
And nobody's called in yet.
Nobody has called in. Maybe they don't know the number.
Maybe they don't. Maybe
we should tell them what that number is.
With that number, it starts with like a 7, right?
Yes.
And a 2. So 723.
No.
720. 923.
923-0500. 720-923-0500 is your ticket to the Portal Expressway. Ooh. You can call in and share your experience if you'd like. Or you can just call in and say hi because, we love to be acknowledged and recognized.
We love to be loved.
We need love. We need lots of love. Everybody needs love.
Michael SC, I can't repeat that live. Oh. Just wouldn't be quite right.
Well, it's if you look it up as self-acceptance, self-approval, we can mutate it. Wes had a good interview. He asked questions to extrapolate data and then really tries to triangulate. He is skilled and compassionate moderator, in my humble opinion.
Who's that?
That's Heather Steinoff talking about Wes.
Who?
Some guy. Germer.
Do your thing.
Germer. That's who she's talking about.
Oh, that guy.
That guy, yeah. Yep.
Darth Germer. Oh, man.
What's going on with this night stuff?
No, Cha-Cha's leaving.
Whatever, Cha-Cha.
Cha-Cha's a quitter.
All right. You got a date or what's going on?
Fine, be that way. Was the Sasquatch dude? What, he looks like Sasquatch?
If they were bald. Just saying.
That'd be bald squatch.
Yeah, he's bald squatch. No,
maybe it's just ass squatch.
I'm not going to. You just went to the end zone with all that, didn't you?
Oh, I have to. I got to score.
You just ran it in. Didn't bother. Yeah, there you go.
Flag on the play. Who cares?
Right through the uprights. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Okay.
I'm out of here, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
He looks like a mini squatch, right? Duke says he doesn't look like a squatch. He looks like a mini squatch.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're still continuing on.
Squatch not.
Squatch not. Well, there you have it. It doesn't smell like a squatch.
No, they smell better.
Ooh, Don, you're just totally riding the Germer Express tonight.
Well, somebody's got to ride him.
Yeah,
no, cha-cha.
Wow. I said choo-choo.
That's what I said, cha-cha.
No, I said choo-choo.
I'm waiting for my pair of Sasquatch Chronicle camo Speedos. Keep those to yourself, Brown Dwarf. Thank you very much. We don't need that stuff up in here.
Yeah, well... It's, I don't know what to say to that at all. I don't know.
Paranormal guys and a microphone.
All right. You want to hear about... No. I'm just looking through some possibilities here.
Okay.
You got anything else, Don?
Nothing not related to Wes right now.
Well, go ahead. Talk about Wes. Talk about your fascination with Mr.
Germer. Germer's cool. I like Germer.
Yeah, he's been good to us.
He's a good guy.
He's been good to us. He's a good chap.
I expect that check in the mail.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm still looking for that
sound file?
Yeah.
Nothing yet?
I want it. I want that file. Where the heck did I put it?
I don't know. I don't know where I put it either.
It's probably in my archive at home.
Some of these, I have done so many of these, though. I'm looking through this list that I have on tap always for the shows, and I just realized I got to update this because a lot of these we've already gone through. So,
Well, Brown Dwarf, what's wrong with Speedos? These two?
what did you say? These two?
These two. You and me. You and
Oh,
I. These
yeah.
two. These
Where
two.
what's wrong with Speedos? we have no business being anywhere in the same room with the Speedo.
Remember that picture from a few years ago when Arnold Schwarzenegger was still governor of California and he was wearing the Speedos?
No,
Oh, gosh. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to unsee it.
no. Good thing too. Good thing too is all I can say. Now these are not necessarily paranormal stories, but they are interesting.
Well, creepy things are awesome.
Creepiest thing. 20 people describe the creepiest thing they ever encountered in real life. So that sounds like a bucket full of fun to me. The first one. I used to work in a low-income home weatherization, basically giving free stuff away to help lower electricity and gas bills and make the home more comfortable to the people that really needed it. Installing doors and insulation and so forth. One step in qualifying a home is testing combustion appliances to make sure they're not emitting carbon monoxide into the living space, because if they are and we seal up the house, we could kill the whole family.
Yep.
During pre-inspection of the home on the outskirts of the city, I asked to see the owner's water heater. He tells me it's in the basement, which is fairly normal, and I tell him I have to inspect it before work can start, so he goes into the kitchen and starts moving the refrigerator. Turns out the entry into the basement is underneath the carpeting edge beneath the fridge. So I should note that I went and did thousands of homes over the years and had never seen such a thing. But whatever, needs to be done regardless, so I pull out my flashlight and shine it down the stairs to check the layout, but really to look for black widow spiders because I hate black widow spiders.
That's not what he said.
No, but that's what he's saying on the show. That's not what he said at all, but that's what he says on this show. At this point, I noticed a dead cat, mostly down to a skeleton. Not my favorite sight, but really, really common in crawl spaces and basements. I take a few steps down the stairs and continue my spider check and notice another couple small animal skeletons. At this point, I start to worry about gas or poisons or something equally dangerous and start looking closer. There are animal skeletons everywhere. At least 10 on a cursory look. Some of them are so degraded I can't determine what they used to be. I also happen to notice that this guy is waiting at the entrance a little too quietly with his hand on the door.
Oh.
Something clicks in my brain and I get this intense sense of danger. I'm about 4 steps from the door being clear to close, and I have no partner on the job with me. There's death all around me, and I realize just how hidden the entrance to the basement really was. I noped the hell out of there and told the guy I needed extra tools and would be back, and marked the job as non-feasible for health and safety as I was driving away. I have no idea if I was actually in any danger. It could have been completely innocent, but I still remember the adrenaline rush and sense of doom, and sometimes you just don't take chances.
Yeah, it puts a lotion on its skin situation right there.
Yeah, apparently the cats didn't like lotion too much.
Wow.
That's horrible. Now, I do know that, in crawl spaces and floorboards, the bodies of cats were used to ward off evil.
Sure.
That's a little much, though. 10 of them is way, way too much.
Mm-hmm.
That's creepy as hell. So here's another one. My dad and I are walking through the woods when we came across a young moose leg just lying on the ground.
A young moose leg?
It says young moose leg.
Wow. Okay.
Lying on the ground. Looked like it had been violently torn off with no sign of the rest of the moose anywhere. It was fresh with blood still on the wound, probably no more than a couple hours old. My dad is a pretty skilled hunter, so he handed me his axe, and he was carrying and told me to watch for wolves while he started looking for tracks.
I'm going to kill a wolf with an axe.
It's kind of a few fairy tales like that, I think. After a little bit, he came back saying, "That's weird. Normally, if it was wolves, you'd be able to find paw prints, but I can't see any. Also, no bear prints. So I have no idea what killed this." And so I'm like, you didn't find any tracks at all? His very reassuring response was, "Well, what I did find appears to be a mama moose tracks headed this way. Showing the tracks, you can see how her stride is a lot longer here. Whatever killed her baby, she didn't want to fight. She just took off running.
Wow.
He then pulls out a bear spray and holds it at the ready as we kept walking deeper into the woods, with the unnamed non-track leaving predator armed with bear spray and an axe.
A mama moose would fight a
Oh,
bear.
hell yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a bear.
That was not a bear. Whatever it was so terrifying that she's like, nope.
I'm out of here.
She said, nope.
Duke says an axe is better than a butter knife.
Well, that's true. Unless you're trying to, you know, make a sandwich.
Here, slice this cheese, would you?
Yeah. Third one, I've been at football training with a few of my cousins when I was about 10 years old. We decided to take a walk before our parents picked us up, so we went along the canal towpath. My cousin looked down in the canal and saw a really nice jacket floating along with being a weird scavenger person, decided to reach in to fish it out. Well, the jacket turned over, and so did the man wearing it. He also had no face left.
Oh,
Not going to lie, that was rough.
yeah, no doubt.
I guess he probably got over his desire for that jacket in a hurry. The fourth one, my girlfriend and I were hiking along some abandoned railroad tracks, and we got to the small bridge going over a little creek, and I'm about to go explore under this bridge when she points something out. I look over in the woods across the path from us, and I see a guy. I'm like, whatever, and I keep heading down to the creek area, and the guy stands up, and he's naked. We immediately backtrack pretty quick to get away from there, and once we're like 1 minute down the trail, I look back, and this naked dude is just standing in the middle of the trail watching us walk away.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like a 10 on the creepy.
Bath salts.
Yeah, it might be.
Oh, my goodness.
This one, I was on a camping trip with some friends of mine, and we found like 7 or 8 8 chipmunks and squirrels all in a pile, but they were all dead without arms or legs. What the hell?
Well,
What does that?
Well, I don't know, but I can't imagine chipmunk ribs being very satisfying.
Well, I'm
Their
sure, but
legs
I
would probably
imagine
be the
their
best parts.
their drumsticks would be like micro.
Drumettes.
Yeah, it's not drumettes, it's drumites maybe. They're just the hint of meat. Yeah.
Smells good.
Yeah, that's right.
A chipmunk serial killer. Yes, anxiety talks.
That smells like chicken.
I like chicken.
All right. When I was about 7 or 8, rather, my parents sent me on a local summer camp, and they would pick me up in the afternoons. And I never really liked it because the kids were mean, and everything was either broken or not clean.
Yeah.
And our counselors obviously didn't care. I remember the girls' changing room had a door that led out into the woods, but the doorknob was gone, so it was unlocked all the time.
Oh, my God.
And you could see into it. This is primarily where the girls change into their bathing suits, and where there was usually someone blocking the view while they changed, so the boys couldn't look in. Well, one day I'm changing alone, and someone wasn't blocking the door. I look over and see an eye peeping in through the hole, watching me change. I pull the rest of my clothes back on quickly and run out to tell my twin brother. I tell my dad that I don't want to go back to that camp anymore, and he begrudgingly takes us out of the camp pretty soon after because he knew how much we hated it. Years later, the camp has been closed down for many, many years, and I'm asking my dad about it, and he gets really grim and tells me it shut down because a 13-year-old boy had raped a 7-year-old girl in the woods right behind the girls' bathroom a few weeks after I had told him about someone watching me change. Oh, that's horrible. God. There's another one. Found a deer with its hind end ate up. A few feet away was a coyote with the hind end ate up. And then another few feet away was a fox with its hind end ate up too. Nothing else was there. No bullet holes, no signs of an arrow or anything else. Couldn't find any tracks from other people or animal. It was pretty creepy. Found in the hills of West Virginia.
I have nothing to say. What an asshole.
That's just weird.
Wow.
I can't even touch that one. I got to leave that alone. That's going to go to gutter land in a hurry.
Yes.
So here's another one. I was walking with family when I was little, and we came across a sheep's head. No body or blood, just a severed sheep's head on the path. It was the first time I noticed sheep's eyes have slit pupils, and I think my first contact with something so gruesome. Well, there you go. That's a memory.
Is it the mafia? The
Yeah.
mafia?
Yeah. Yeah. Usually they put it in the bed with people, though, don't they? I was in a large wooded area near my boyfriend's home with him, hanging out nearly at midnight, and we had gone in pretty deep, and it required a good amount of climbing. The closest path was maybe 5 to 7 minutes climbing down, so it was highly unlikely someone could be at that spot that time of night besides us. Well, as we were kissing and stuff, he thought he saw a shadow move 20 to 25 feet to the left of us, climbing, but it stopped suddenly when my boyfriend looked at it. He told me to be wary, and at that exact moment, we saw a dark figure climbing up a little up, but diagonally, like he tried to go directly above where we were. Well, that's not a good thing.
No.
We didn't move and watched him until he closed the horizontal gap and was directly above us, maybe 15 feet of steep downhill thick forest, and then he began to come towards us.
Wow.
Without skipping a beat, my boyfriend grabbed my hand and we almost ran downhill to the path. We made it in less than 2 minutes while still holding hands and listening to the man running behind us. We ran as fast as we could down the path and out of the forest, where there was a cafe and some basketball and tennis courts next to the wooded hill, and of course people. As we realized we came really close to be mugged or worse, we vowed never to go in there at night again. Good call. Good call.
This is a no snogging zone.
Yeah, absolutely. My friend and I were chilling in the woods one day back in high school, and I see a dog walking by and later followed by this kid. He looked troubled, so we asked him if he needed help, and he obliged, telling us he was dog sitting for his friend and the dog got loose. So we spent an hour following this dog and the kid around, going deeper and deeper into the woods. Eventually, I finally got the dog to come with me, but it wasn't wearing a collar, so I wasn't able to get a hold, and my friend and I look away for just a few seconds to discuss strategy. And when we turn our back around, the kid and the dog are both gone. It was like they completely vanished. Keep in mind, it was autumn, so any footsteps could be heard from quite far, but it was just silent, not a single trace of them anywhere. Still don't really know what happened. Maybe they ran away real quick. Who knows? Was definitely enough to creep us out, though. Yeah, I think they just ran away.
Yeah, phantom children and phantom dogs are a no-go. It's a non sequitur. No, thank you.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Walking on the beach with my boyfriend. We'd walk to a giant rocky cliff to make out. Someone was just gazing at the ocean, crying and shaking. Mind you, this is late at night, like around 9:30 p.m., and we asked him if he was okay. He apologized and practically ran back down the cliff, away from the dangerous areas. My boyfriend and I watched him until he reached the public area and decided to call it a night. I'm pretty sure he was going to jump.
Oh.
Wow. Eesh. Number 12. I found a woman's body floating in a harbor in San Pedro, California. Oh, that's terrible. Here's another one. In order to get back home from a popular kebab restaurant, I needed to walk a short path through the woods, and along the way there's a extremely old, abandoned, partially collapsed chapel, and occasionally I'll stand there for a few seconds admiring it. It's really quite beautiful in its own way, and one day during winter season, I decided to rest there for a minute, so I placed my kebab on the bench next to the chapel and just stood there, taking in the scenery, and it was already rather dark, and the woods were almost completely silent. But right as I was about to continue my walk, I heard footsteps rapidly getting louder. It was a child running towards me, and as soon as it realized I was there, it started to repeatedly scream, "Run, he's coming!" or variations of that same sentiment. I was a bit perplexed by the situation, so I watched the child run past me without moving an inch myself. It didn't take another second for a much more weighty pair of footsteps to appear, and it could make out a silhouette in the distance, which seemed to be their origin, and at that exact point in time, I got really scared. As opposed to running, I decided to hide in the chapel next to the altar, and after tripping over an old broken chapel bench, I reached my hiding place. The footsteps got louder and louder, but right as they approached the vicinity of the chapel, they suddenly went silent. About 15 seconds of complete quiet had passed. Just the words, "Oh," You idiot. You left your kebab on the bench. To break the silence, turns out it was a resident of the very same street I inhabit. His nephew was visiting and he wanted to race him to the kebab stand.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so the next one. This was quite a few years ago.
Oh, that would suck.
Someone got your lunch.
You know, it's yeah, no doubt. But it's like those videos on like the YouTube videos run. You know, somebody goes runs past these people, and then all of a sudden this like crazy clown or
I know.
something comes running by, and they just turn and run.
Yeah.
I had to poop myself.
Yes, exactly. This was quite a few years ago now, but me and my friend had this really cool spot to hang out in the woods. And you had to walk in the middle of a creek for 1 kilometer and duck through sharp bushes and thistles. The hike was well rewarded, though. The spot was about half an acre big. It was pure green grass on an incline with beautiful clear water ponds everywhere. There was tons of wildlife and the butterflies lived there. There was also tons of butterflies. So the story begins on the way to this place. My friend Levi and I were walking along the river on the way to the spot. It was in the middle of a valley and nobody else ever went down there. Suddenly Levi stopped moving and ducked into a bush. I did the same because I thought there must have been an animal somewhere, a large animal, and I saw him staring up the hill, and so I looked up. There was 2 people standing up on top of the hill, heaving back and forth a lifeless body.
Wow.
Oh, no. We watched as they threw the lifeless corpse down the hill as it bounced off the trees and eventually got stuck on a tree on the bottom.
Oh.
Then they took off. Me and him were terrified, and I was shaking so badly I couldn't speak. So we decided to verify it was a real body. Levi got about 4 feet away before screaming, "It has nostrils. It's real. Run." So of course we take off running, and I glance back to see the 2 men run back to the top of the hill. Me and him ran 2 kilometers through thick bush and trees to get away from them. The next day we were with his parents driving to town, and we saw like 10 fire trucks at the school closest to the forest. Terrified, we told his parents, bawling our eyes out and worried that we were going to get murdered. His mom started to laugh at us and said, "They're training for search and rescue. That was a dummy that the firemen had to find." I never slept as good as I did that night.
Oh my God. Oh, that's freaking hilarious. Oh man, those poor kids.
Oh,
How old
no
were
kidding.
they?
I
They were
don't know.
10 or something?
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
Let's see what it says. How old were they? It doesn't really say. They just said they had a cool spot.
Oh man.
Those poor guys.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh, good God.
So it has a happy ending, though. That's a good happy ending, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a relief. Yes.
Incredible relief, yeah.
Wow.
All right. So this is Auburn, Alabama in 2008. It was Halloween, and we Googled haunted houses. I can't remember what the website was like or if there was one, but it was like 45 minutes away, and I know that isn't like a big attraction. And we figured it was on someone's land. It would probably be a local deal, so we drove out there at like 10 p.m., and this was before iPhones and GPS, so we had MapQuest directions. We ended up going down a pretty country road for a while with no street lights, and we turned down a legit dirt road that went through the woods, pitch black, went down it for like 10 minutes, and finally saw an old house with a sign by the driveway that was handwritten and said haunted house. No other cars or lights or people anywhere. This is already a bad sign.
Yeah. The first sign is haunted house.
Yeah, the second one is that it's nobody else there. We pulled into the driveway and sat there for a second. Like, all right, this is screwed up. We should leave. And all of a sudden, an old pickup truck turned on about 15 feet in front of us, facing us, lights shining right in our eyes. And it started driving towards us down their own driveway. We backed out and peeled out, and it followed us, like almost bumping our rear end, right on our tail down this pitch black dirt road in the middle of the Alabama woods. We were flipping out, and it was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre Hills Have Eyes stuff. He stayed on our tail, blinding us and almost bumping us all the way back home until we got off on our exit and he finally let us go. No idea who was driving the truck. I always think that what would have happened if we had gotten out of the car when we were in that driveway.
That's more like a Jeepers Creepers kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. That's very strange. But, I mean, there was nobody else there, really? That's wrong.
Wow.
All right. So this one is, this took place in the Australian bush. Here you go, Cade. Took place in the Australian bush, 11 at night. I was 17, leading a staggering column of about 60 cadets to our detachment campsite. Due to light discipline rules, only myself at the very front of the group and the other flight commander at the rear had torches on. This was so any vehicles coming along the trail could see us, and so that most of the cadets could maintain their night vision. We were camouflaged up, and thus difficult to see at night. As we walked along, I periodically looked to my sides and kept seeing what looked like dewdrops on the ground, almost like tiny blue gems glinting in my torchlight either side of the road. I had to maintain my position in the formation so I couldn't get a good look at what they were. However, after a while, we stopped for a very brief break. I took the opportunity to have a closer look, and walking over to the side of the trail, I spotted a small cluster of the, quote, diamonds, and focused my head torch on them. Rather than seeing diamonds or dewdrops or anything remotely pleasant, I instead saw a group of about 5 large spiders just crouching in the leaf litter staring at me. They looked like huntsmen, which are about the size of an adult's hand. Sweeping my head around, I realized there were thousands of the things all over the ground,
My goodness.
some of the trunks of trees and everywhere around me glaring at the light affixed to my head. I had a very brisk walk back to the formation and attempted to play it cool while screaming in my head. Being a massive arachnophobe, I have no clue how I managed to set up a tent and spend the next week in that cursed forest. Yikes.
There was a story I just came across about a woman just found the largest huntsman spider ever recorded. And unfortunately, I can't remember how big it was, but it was supposed to have been huge.
It was, wow.
Brendan Salwin is now in a coma.
He is, huh?
Yeah.
Ah, poor guy. Man, he's going through a rough run. He's got a huge stack against him on this whole deal, but
Yes, he does.
I don't know. I hope whatever happens, it's gentle and peaceful and he's good, whatever that means.
Right.
Oh, man, that's sad. A moment of silence for Mr. Brenton Sawn. All right. Man, he's one of our team, you know. He's out there representing the paranormal and the Bigfoot community and stuff, so
Yeah.
that's not good. I guess, we know you can't live forever. Nobody can, but
Nobody gets out of this thing alive, that's for sure.
well, in a
But,
manner of speaking, yeah.
It'd be best to be able to choose your manner of. That'd be nice.
What would you choose? I'm just curious.
To go like my uncle and not like all the people on his bus.
I'd think I'd choose to go in my sleep if I got to choose.
I probably would too. Yeah.
I just feel bad for whoever
at least in bed.
I feel bad for whoever has to wake me up.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah. All right. So I was walking around my dogs through the woods, and she'd find an odd bone, and I thought nothing of it. But then she ran towards a huge black sack and was going nuts for it. Well, I opened the bag, and it's filled with bones.
Oh, geez.
Kind of weird, but I'm still like, okay, just be hunters around or something. But then I walk a bit further and start seeing more and more bags. Then a huge cluster of them, at least 20 right there, all filled with bones. I decided my dog had a long enough walk after seeing all of that, so we left. So there's just bags of bones.
Huh.
I don't know.
Those lovely bones.
Them bones. All right, let's go to the next one.
Ooh.
My boyfriend and I were backpacking through rural Tasmania a few years ago. While on a bus, we were discussing our plans for the ensuing 2 weeks. The girl in the seat in front of us turns around and offers us a place to stay in her town. Well, we declined as we were headed elsewhere first, but She gave us her mobile number and said that she and her partner would love to have us. A few days later, we decided to take them up on their offer. We call her and she says they're happy to host us. So far, so good. They meet us at the train station and immediately something feels off. It's really difficult to explain, but it's that primal, ineffable feeling in your guts that tells you that something isn't right. We ignored our guts and followed them.
Oh, God.
They lead us straight out of town. We ask them where we're going, and they say that they live on the outskirts. And this town is creepy as hell, and there's an old mining town that has been largely abandoned. And as we walked the 15-odd minutes to their home, the houses get crappier and more boarded up windows, overgrown gardens, and no people in sight. Well, eventually we reach the house at the very end of the town, and it's their house. We go in. Set up in the middle of the living room, it's a single mattress with a sheet hanging around it. They show us around the house except for one door, which stays closed. When I ask what's behind it, they pretend not to hear. Our room has a made bed, a chest of drawers, and looks like a normal room. Seems weird that they sleep on a mattress in the living room when they have a guest room. Mm-hmm. We go back into the living room and look around. Knives, a lot of knives. My boyfriend asks if they go hunting. Nope. The partner hands one of the knives to my boyfriend and asks him to open it. It's a massive Bowie knife with what looks like blood staining around the edges of the blade. And my boyfriend laughs awkwardly and sets it down. They have a tattoo gun to practice. My boyfriend asks if they have any tattoos. Nope. There's a small axe at the door. I ask if they collect wood. Nope. Suddenly the guy says he wants to go to the shops, and we agree quickly because we're creeped out and want to get back into the town. The four of us leave and then start walking in the opposite direction to the town. And I say the town is back the other way, and the guy says this way would be more interesting because it goes up through the trees.
This is how you lose a kidney.
Yeah, I know. That's how you lose everything. He says that they have never been up the mountain before, but he knows the area and would take a same amount of time. I tell my boyfriend that I'm freaking out and he thinks it's okay. We follow them into the trees. The path goes up to the mountain and we're going in the total opposite direction of the town. The girl turns around to her partner and whispers, "So where was the place again?" My boyfriend and I freeze, and I say I want to take the road back to town and start walking. When the four of us arrive in the one shop in town, no one recognizes the couple, and this is a really small town. We make an excuse that we want to go look at the sights and that we'll catch up with them later, and instead book a hotel room and freak out. Mm-hmm. I did some snooping on the area. Their house had an extra room behind the mystery door and a basement. The path that we were taken led straight out of the town and up into the mountain. There was no way I could loop back into the town. So yeah, pretty sure we narrowly avoided being murdered, or maybe they were just massive weirdos. To be honest, the creepiest thing was the fact that there was no drug paraphernalia at all. The state of the house and the weird behavior would have been understandable if they were intoxicated, but that wasn't the case. Yeah, there's always that feeling. You got to trust your gut on those things, ladies and gentlemen. You can't, if it feels wrong, it probably is. I'm just saying, I think it is.
Wow.
Okay, the next one. During a YMCA camp 15 to 20 years ago, I was around 11 or 13 at the time, and we're camping in tents in a forest area. It was middle of summer, so stayed light until about 10 p.m., 11 until it was fully dark. Wow, that's pretty hardcore summer light there. So we're going on a night walk with the group, and we're halfway into the forest when we notice someone definitely not belonging to our group following us. Camp leaders rushed us back to the camp and put us into our tents with one leader staying up to watch us. Cue halfway through the night, wake up and have to pee like a madman. I get out of the tent to walk to the bathroom and see the leader supposed to watch us asleep in his chair.
Of course he is.
By the campfire. Look around and see that the guy following us earlier has opened up and is peeking into one of the tents while fumbling in a bag he has next to him. Scream louder than I ever screamed in my life. The leaders wake up, jump the guy, hold him till the police arrive. Turns out he had a taser, blindfold, rope, and several knives in his bag.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
How's that for a bunch of freaky?
Wow.
Yikes. The last one on this list is when I was a kid, I used to live on a tiny property in the woods. My house was basically built around the stables where once my room was back when it was still stables. The hay was stacked, but getting to the creepy thing, I need to say some other stuff. Before getting to the creepy thing, I need to say some other stuff. When you were in my room, you could sometimes smell hay out of the nowhere. My dog always refuses to go upstairs because something is scaring the hell out of it there. You could sometimes hear knocking on doors. There were 3 entrance doors in my house, sometimes all at once. Now, this having been said, you can go to the fun thing. We can go to the fun thing. So in my room, I had a big-ass window, and there gave a big view over the woods. And my garden was basically a clearing. Once I heard a kid giggling from upstairs. I ran there, only to find my window open and something running out into the woods. I spent 2 more years in this house, and I always felt insecure the whole time. And that's the whole story, I guess. So there you have it. Some odd, strange encounters people had. Not all of them paranormal, but, well, I mean, they're all paranormal, I guess, because they're not normal. But
No, and Brandon said the right thing. He says, now that's scary. People are by far the scariest.
yeah, you're right. I mean, in most parts, you're absolutely right, Brandon. People are creepy.
Yeah.
People are broken. People are screwed up, and people do horrible things. I don't know why. It's the list is as long as your imagination, I guess. But there's just a lot of people. Maybe there's sociopaths, psychopaths. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they don't think it matters. Maybe they do think it matters, and it's for all the wrong reasons. Some people are just dark and twisted, and they can't feel anything, so they want to try to feel something. I don't know. It's horrible. Horrible stuff, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
I think that's all the politicians. You're absolutely right. Anxiety talks. Yeah, they're all. Well, I think there's some good politicians. I really do, but I don't know what the hell this madness is going on now. I tell you, I'm just so absolutely disgusted by it. I just can't even imagine. I don't know. I think we're witnessing the destruction of reason in our modern age.
the end of the age of reason.
It doesn't matter what's real or not real. It just matters, who can apply the most pressure, I guess.
And how many will believe.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that scares them, the amount of people that believe something. And sometimes it's blind belief. I mean, they haven't done any research into it. And I'm not saying to be this party or that party or be pro this or anti that. I don't care what you believe. But I think if anything in your life is causing you to rage, it's probably not a good thing to include in your life. If whatever's going on in the political sphere is so powerful that it causes you to treat other people poorly, then you probably shouldn't be paying such close attention to it, because it's not good for you. And it's not good for people in general. You're not going to yell somebody into going, oh, you're right. You're not going to put them down and make them feel like, wow, you're right. You really got me. It's never going to work that way. And if you treat people poorly as a result of your political affiliations, then you need to take a step back, because that's not healthy. Anytime that happens, that's a real dark thing. Anyway, I don't ever want to be political on this show. This show is not about politics. Believe what you want to believe, but just do it from your heart. That's all this story. Don, you got something else? We got about 8 minutes left, huh?
Well, real quick, there was this thing I was reading about the Bigfoot Times.
Yes, please talk about that.
Yeah, this is from 1979 through 1986, and this is written by Daniel Perez, who was the editor and publisher. From 1979 through 1986, I published a small newsletter called the Bigfoot Times. The purpose of the occasional bulletin was to inform the reader of news about the hairy bipeds from North America and other parts of the world, in addition to related matters. It was a different world at that time, as the newspaper was produced using electric typewriters. The Bigfoot Times was stapled, double-sided white paper, 8.5 by 11 inches. In the late 1997, I purchased my first laptop computer, an IBM ThinkPad. And with the same burning enthusiasm, I started to publish another newsletter. This one was called the Bigfoot Times. So the Bigfoot Times in the original was all one word. It was Bigfoot Times. And the T of Bigfoot was the T of the word times. Then he separated it. At the time, there were quite a few Bigfoot bulletins that were mailed to members via the United States Postal Service, and it was a crowded field, to say the least. As the internet started to encroach on everyone's life, a lot of news about the Bigfoot subject started going online, and Bigfoot websites became commonplace. And then came social media, and with that, the chatter on the subject became nonstop. As time went on, slowly but surely, the snail mail postal newsletter went extinct, except for the Bigfoot Times. As all this was going on, I quietly persisted with 4-page newsletter that was as old fashioned as they get. It is mailed to readers in an envelope. The newsletter is printed on sunburst yellow paper, and the format was booklet, 11 by 17 inches. I wrote the first edition of Bigfoot Times. As usual, there are no ground rules and nothing is too sacred to be discussed here. A simple formula that I still embrace. Looking back, but also looking ahead, I think another reason for the longevity of the Bigfoot Times is that I was always willing to write what others were only thinking. It's that comment in conversation, tell us what you really think. Well, just go to the Bigfoot Times. The newsletter is mailed out every month, and I have been doing so since our premiere issue came out last century in January 1998.
Wow.
The Bigfoot Times newsletter is over 20 years old now. How's that for longevity? Better to understand the depths of the newsletter, please visit the updated Bigfoot Times Index maintained by George Eberhardt. And it gives the web page here, the link. Feel free to inspect the back issues, and there's a link there. Membership payments can be mailed to Daniel Perez. It's $18.50, and I don't know if that's a month or if that's a year. I'm thinking that's a year, though.
Sounds like it, yeah.
He still takes checks, money orders, and cash. If you browse the Bigfoot Time Index, you'll find this newsletter has published more original real news on the Patterson-Gimlin film than any other publication in the world, from the picture of the truck that made the journey to Bluff Creek to the name of the reporter. Not to mention, it was the editor of this publication who that person was, and it was not, as widely thought, the late newspaper reporter Andrew Gonzalez, who spoke to Roger Patterson just hours after the historic filming took place. So there you go. So the original Bigfoot fanzine is what we called those fanzines back in the 90s.
Oh, sure.
Or late 80s, early 90s. But yeah, that's the original Bigfoot fanzine or newsletter. And it's been around since 1979, the newest incarnation since 1997. That is incredible.
Incredible.
So yeah, that's kind of cool.
That is cool. I've never heard of it, but I think it's cool. A lot of the whole paranormal sphere has been, it's been perpetuated and populated by people just picking it up and doing it.
Right.
There's not a lot of mainstream efforts that are perpetuating the science or the knowledge base. It's people deciding, hey, I want to know about this.
Right.
Doing some research, doing some reading, talking to people, and getting out there and making something happen. So It's pretty incredible stuff, man. There's a lot of killer human spirit involved with this.
Right.
By killer, I mean awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean dark and ugly.
Like walking through the woods to a house that nobody really lives at, that has knives and axes. And
So before we go, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take some time to do and just say that it's really meant a lot to us, all of you who have either donated to the show in either through PayPal or through Super Chats or however you've done it, or you've gone to our shop. But we are just really thrilled, and if you think you might want to help perpetuate the Paranormal Portal and help us to build to bigger, better, great things, then please head over to Teespring. And I'm going to put it up on screen here in just a second once I pull up the link.
Yep.
I got to pull up some linkages here, Don.
And just so you know, that's teespring.com/stores, STORES, /paranormal-portal.
Yes. And you're going to put a link in the chat, right?
I can do that, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the description as well. But this is our Paranormal Portal shop, ladies and gentlemen, where we are currently selling some items that have to do with the Paranormal Portal, like some killer shirts and some mugs, and t-shirts, hoodies, pullover hoodies, sweatshirts, another mug, stickers, leggings, more t-shirts, another mug, and these are cool. Are these new? Are these the new ones you made?
You can't show those ones, actually.
Why?
Because those are special.
Oh, there?
Yeah, those can't be bought.
They can't be?
They cannot be bought.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, yep.
All right. This is what we discussed. All right. I remember. But check out this sexy hoodie. Let me click on it here. There it is.
Oh, that is so hot.
That is so hot. It's probably nice and warm, too.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
It's hot and nice and warm.
And it comes in 3 special blends. Classic, Premier, and Premium.
And woman's slouchy sweatshirts are here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Portal hoodies white.
Yep.
Yep. So
that's the long sleeve hoodie. Or the
there you
long
go.
sleeve sweatshirt. Yeah.
Right. So there's
Yep,
options
yep.
here. And there's color options, too, yeah?
Just a couple.
What are the couple?
Well, see, those are specific.
So
to
it's
that
already
particular-
white. Okay.
Well, those are specific to those styles.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. And if you like the burgundy, to
I
that
like
style.
a nice burgundy.
You're thinking of a brandy.
Oh, that's it.
Burgundy's a wine, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. All right. So there's lots of things, lots of cool stuff here, and it certainly goes a long way to help us out. This sticker, even though it sounds like it's small, it's actually
It's
huge.
actually huge.
It's enormous. It's like literally like 8 inches or 8 inches long. Do you suppose?
Oh, I don't know about that. I would definitely say 6 inches. Who did we send that to? Was that Bob in Germany?
I think it was Bob in Germany. Yeah, he got the sticker. I wonder if he ever got it.
I
Did you
do
hear?
believe. Yeah, I do believe he did. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is out there, but it's actually enormous, and everything goes a long way to help us out, ladies and gentlemen, because this is primarily a blood, sweat, and tears kind of thing, and we don't make much of anything by doing the show just by virtue of doing it. It's getting better, and there's more things growing and coming along, but. In the meantime, we got a lot of investigations we want to start doing. We got some leads on some investigations we want to do, but that's going to require a lot of specialized equipment that we currently don't have and could use to make this happen. So if you want to help support that, please head over to, again, teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal. And again, the link is in the description below. I'm pointing downward, but it's on the screen. So in the description below. So if you feel so inclined, otherwise you can head over to PayPal and just say, hey, here's a few bucks.
Yeah.
And I don't like to ask for donations. I really don't. To me, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel funny about that. But I do know that it's really important that we keep going on this trajectory we're on. And unfortunately, it's going to require a lot more resources than what we currently have. So.
Absolutely.
So whatever you guys can help with, it certainly goes a long way for us. So thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of tonight's show. We really appreciate it. We love you all. Don, anything in closing?
It's Wednesday, so Paisley's not following us.
Okay.
No, other than we love and appreciate every one of you, and we are so thankful that you have become part of the Paranormal Portal family.
Absolutely. So
Absolutely.
we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow night with some bedtime stories. Remember, Donald Raymond Schmidt joins us on Friday, and then Truth Seeker, and who just has released his new book, will be joining us Saturday. So we got a couple of good shows coming up. Hope you guys will join us. And remember, Friday will be another podcast. And if all goes well, I will have this recorded. I tried to record it today with the gentleman who's going to be guest on the show, but it didn't work out real well. So we're going to try to redo it tomorrow and see if we can get that recorded and make it sound good. So we'll, but keep watching either way. Friday there will be a new podcast release. So pay attention to that. You can find that on iTunes, iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, and a bunch of other places, wherever you find podcasts. So, all right, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. All right, guys. Good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good night.